Joe Exotic TV is a licensed member of the U.S. Press Association. All video footage is owned and played by White Monkey Productions. Some scenes may be reenacted or recreated, dramatized, or made up for purposes of entertainment only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I appreciate everybody checking in tonight. I'm an emotional and a physical wreck today, so I'm liable to go to jail after this show. So we're going to go straight into Donald Trump's wreck. Good day, Mr. Trump. This is day 10 of the video messages to you or any other presidential candidate. It's going to give us the respect enough to answer the 6 questions that we've been asking for the last 10 days. And we're going to continue to ask the same 6 questions and add a little bit more to each one of them for the next 394 days. You know, this is a pretty damn easy scam to uncover. Taking people's animals away from them, putting them in their own sanctuaries in order to raise money for themselves. Should be called theft. One of the biggest criminal activities going on in America right now, under a 501c3 status. You know, we have organizations out there like PETA, the Humane Society of the United States, ROAR, WWF, Big Cat Rescue, the list goes on, that put on their websites that all these animals belong in the wild, and they show pictures of them being dead in the wild. They show pictures of them being slaughtered in China. It's not happening here in America, but they're raising millions and millions of dollars, and not a goddamn dime of it goes to help the animals in the wild. So I got one challenge for any of you presidential campaign people and Donald Trump especially. Let's change some of these 501c3 laws, and if you're raising money for a certain purpose, 30% of that at least should be sent to help build more sanctuaries in the wild and hire rangers to protect them from poachers. Putting 100% in your pocket to buy rent houses, condos, throw big parties is pure bullshit. Taking money from the American people under false pretenses to help animals, and it ain't going to the animals. I can show you today, just Carol Baskin alone, over 60 counts of felony fraud for notary fraud, of where she's using that money and buying rental property on the sake of animals. Giving the Humane Society $25,000 for a card table at a hotel and calling it advertisement when it's really laundering money from one 501c3 organization to another in order to take people's rights away and take their animals away, put them in their own Global Federation of Animal sanctuaries, and raise the same goddamn money off of them. This shit's got to stop. The sicker I get, the madder I get, and I don't care whose toes I step on. They've stripped me of everything I own for this fight, and the only thing I got left is however many days I've got on this planet. And I don't give a shit anymore. You're going to start hearing it straight from the truth, and I'm going to start naming names. They can sue me till the fucking cows come home. But this is the 6 questions that we want to know. Here in America, we have a war in the animal world and the animal rights people in order to take our rights away, and 62.8 million people here in America own pets, and we'd like to know your comments and your concerns about a few issues. Question number 1, how do you feel about 501c3 organizations here in America that are scamming the public for hundreds of millions of dollars to take care of animals, and none of it goes to the animals? 90% of it goes to lobbyists to pass laws to further their agenda. 2, it seems like terrorist is the #1 topic anytime you turn the news on anymore. Are you aware that our own government, the United States Department of Agriculture, declared PETA a #1 domestic terrorist in the United States on November the 30th, 2009, and they're still a nonprofit tax organization here in America? How can you be a terrorist and get a tax break from your own country right here in America? 3, we'd like to know your opinion on how you feel on online bullying, not only of children, but adults, in the name of free speech, in order to bash somebody and ruin their reputation and their good name, only to make money for yourself and get away with it under the Declaration of Free Speech. 4, we'd like to know, how come us Americans that own our own property, own our own houses, and pay taxes on them do not have the right to have our own pets that we choose to have on our property or in our homes? Number 5, do you not think that we Americans have the right to assume the risk of our profession, no different than a cop, a firefighter, an oil rig worker, or anyone else that has the assumption of the risk of their professions? It is our right. And please, if you become president, give us back our right. And number 6, one of the most important, and this kind of touched on your speech at the Oklahoma State Fair about things being made in other countries and taxing them when they come into America. Do you not believe that it should be a right that any product made from the rainforest or an animal's habitat somewhere in the world should be taxed in order to be sold in America, and that tax money go back to helping rebuild the habitat and the rainforest so some of these animals don't become extinct in the futures to come? I'm Joe Exotic, and along with 62.8 million other people, we'd like to know if you have any answers for any of this. And you wouldn't believe the support you would get. But this war on American citizens and their animals has got to come to a stop. Well, that's our 6 questions, and I'd like to know some answers about this 501(c) status in America of just letting people fraud people for money after they've worked their ass off for it just because they care about animals. And none of it, hardly any of it, if any of it, is going to help the animals. Now, I have been throwing up for 84 days straight. And if you don't think I can't sit on this picnic table for 394 more days and stir some shit, you haven't met Joe Exotic. That's my video message for today. The American people, if you want to change some shit in this country, start hitting that share button. I'll see you tomorrow. Nope. All right. I put one post on Facebook today, and I meant every word of it I said. And I'm going to pull it over there for some of you that haven't seen it. I want you to look at these pictures, and I want them to embed in your brain. These animals are here because we brought them here, and we bred them here, and we made them our family, and we made them our pets. It doesn't matter if you own them or somebody else owns them. But if you claim that you're fighting to keep them from being extinct and you're keeping them from being taken away from you, you're damn sure going to have to get online and raise some money to fight for these animals. I don't know how anybody can sit back in a closet and hide and say that you love these animals, and you can't find $5 to help save them and your rights. There are more animals sitting over there in that fucking prison in Ohio waiting for this same fate. And I'm not even started yet. That rhino is living in the same fucking wild that all the animal rights people, Carol Baskin, Tippi Hedren, Wayne Pacelle, Ingrid Newkirk, and all their fucking Kool-Aid drinkers think that they all belong in the wild. And that's what's happening to them. Do you think Carol Baskin raises 52,000 African rands to send over to hire rangers? Fuck no. All she's doing is putting it in her pocket and frauding people. But Joe Exotic raised 52,000 African rands to hire rangers last year by signing autographs $10 at a time. Wayne Pacelle, Have you wrote a check to save any animals in the wild? Tippy Hedren, have you wrote a check to save any animals in the wild? I have not even begun, people. I am sick and I'll hurt. Dealing with broken ribs, needles in my arms, puking and bleeding. And I can do this and you can't? And a comment on the post that Ronnie put on today, you're a little insulted my ass. How can you sit back and watch this? I'll be right back after a commercial break.
There's a place for all of God's creatures, right next to the mashed potatoes and gravy. The Tiger Cafe for your family. Open 24 hours, 20 miles west of Baton Rouge, I-10, exit 139 in Gross Tet. This message brought to you by the Tiger Truck Stop Cafe and Tony the Truck Stop Tiger on behalf of innocent animal owners and victims of the animal rights movement. Remember what Tony says.
Animal rights activists taste like chicken.
Before Little Caesars created the new bacon-wrapped deep dish pizza topped with pepperoni and bacon and wrapped in over 3.5 feet of bacon, we only had one question. Is this much bacon even legal?
Now, I'm just a small-town pizza lawyer, but I do declare that wrapping these 8 crispy corners of pizza in over 3.5 feet of bacon is perfectly legal.
Great! Get a large bacon-wrapped deep dish pizza, hot and ready, 4 to 8, and only $12, only at Little Caesars. World's easiest way to pizza.
Pizza. Oh, it's all perfectly legal.
Seth Woodley Dodge, we'll give you the best deal that works for you. Heck, we even have oil changes and engines for life.
I wish I would have come to Seth Woodley Dodge in the first place.
We make everyone a customer for life.
Yippee-ki-yay, Seth Woodley.
My angel don't fly, caught on the ground, unable to climb. She waits for the wind, she waits for her time, when my angel can fly. Woke up this morning with the sunshine in my eyes. All the
Hey, everybody. I just want to say thank you to all our supporters from the United States Zoological Association. Without you, we couldn't keep strong in the battle to save all of our rights to own and care for the animals that we love. Stick with us. It's going to be a long battle, but we're in it for the long haul.
You know, it's a crying shame that me or Ronnie have to get on my Facebook and piss people off in order for you to donate some money or to spread it around in order to save your rights. We have to make it to $20,000 to file this lawsuit and get this plan into action. And I truly in my heart believe it's going to work. But I can make you one promise, and that is when we do this, because we will, and your name's not on that PayPal link, and next year when you are in trouble and you pick up a phone and you want my help, you can go to hell. Since some of these people got their animals taken away from in Ohio, have hated my guts for years, and now they're on the phone asking for my help. And you know, I let bygones be bygones. And I'm doing all I can to help those people. Wednesday marks 18 years my brother was killed. Murdered by a drunk driver. And you can buy alcohol in every fucking gas station on every fucking road. And they're taking our rights away to love our animals? Because 21 of us took the choice to get killed in 21 years? My brothers and sisters haven't spoke to me in 18 years because they wanted mom and dad to divide the money up instead of buying the property this zoo sits on. And they have joined forces with Carol Baskin to bring me down. And I have a message for every one of you bastards tonight. And I'm going to use PETA's line to do it. It will be a cold day in hell before you beat me. Because money and objects don't mean shit to me. You've already stripped me of just about everything I own. And you're going to have to kill me to shut me up. Because I'm going to die a hero, and I'm going to liberate the animal world from all of you animal rights people. And you can take that to the bank. This next part is a story so you understand what I have been through. Overbuilding this zoo and trying to protect my dad. Well, 18 years ago, this Wednesday, a drunk driver took away the only person that really believed in me. And that was my brother, G.W., Gerald Wayne Shriver. He was killed in Corsicana, Texas, moving my sister from Arlington to Florida. Made it just a little over 40 miles, and a drunk semi-driver hit him. He made it from the crash site to the emergency room, told him his wife's phone number and who to call. They took him into surgery and removed his spleen and started patching him up. He had a broken neck, severe head injuries to the point that his eyes were swollen out of his head, crushed chest, both broken femurs, and broken legs below the knees. And he made it out of surgery and awake, but he couldn't talk. And by the time we got there, he was already out of surgery and out of recovery, and they had him in an ICU room. And he knew something was wrong. He was scared to death, but he couldn't talk to us. So the hospital put him in an induced coma, drug-induced coma, to calm him down while they started doing all these operations to pin his legs and everything else back together. And he was on a ventilator to breathe for him. But anyway, he laid there for 7 days, and we lived in the waiting room in the hospital in Corsicana for those 7 days. And the doctor, from the first day we got there, wanted to know if we wanted to donate his organs. And he was still alive. So obviously that kind of makes you wonder. 7 days later, they declared him brain dead. And, you know, when you're sitting there looking at your brother, and everywhere they've operated on him is healing, it's hard to believe that you're dead, you know? So I set up transfers to all different hospitals to get him out of Corsicana and into a bigger hospital so they could really tell us what's going on. The doctor at the Corsicana hospital, every time I got a transfer set up, convinced the doctors at the receiving hospital that he was brain dead and they wouldn't accept a dead body. So, for the sake of a peace of mind and for the sake of my mom and dad, I made a deal with Baylor Hospital that my dad didn't know about. And that was if they would send a helicopter down and fly him up there, I would donate his organs. So they did. They kept their word, and they flew him up there. And you know, I've never been a religious person, but I believe there's something up there bigger than us. And you could ask my mom and dad and the doctors at the hospital, when that helicopter landed on the pad in Corsicana, Texas, and they wheeled him out of those emergency room doors to put him in a helicopter. We're talking about a helicopter pad with no trees even close to it. Huge, huge globs of spider webs fell all over that helicopter. So this accident has done so many things to the way I believe and the way I treat people nowadays, because there is something bigger up there than us. I don't know what kind of message it was to have spider webs or silk or whatever fall all over that helicopter, but it did. So we get him to Baylor Hospital, and they let me go in all the rooms to watch his test be done to prove that there was no circulation in his brain. So I had to keep my word. And the next morning, I took his two little boys in to say goodbye to their dad. My mom and dad couldn't go in and say goodbye. How tough that was. His wife said that she said her goodbyes the night before. So me and his wife had to go in and sign the papers to donate his organs and shut the machines off. After that was all done, my dad was hell-bent on making sure my brother was never cut on again after we left the first hospital. So I had to go down to the morgue and bribe them to write on the death certificate that it was a visual autopsy and not a real one. Because in the state of Texas, when you die of a motor vehicle accident, you have to have an autopsy. So from that point on to the funeral home, my dad wanted to open a coffin and open his shirt and make sure nobody cut him up. So I had to go through the process of getting my dad off the coffin and making sure that he didn't want to see Gerald that way for his last memory. So I finally got him in the ground. And up until last year, my brothers and sisters blackmailed my mom and me to tell my 80-year-old dad that has Alzheimer's and dementia that I cut my brother up. And for 17 years, we fell for that. And last year, my oldest brother made good on his blackmail threat. And that was, he picked up a phone and he called my dad and told my dad what I did to my brother. So I had to go to my mom and dad's house and sit all night long watching my dad cry. All because of selfishness and money. Because my mom and dad got a whole whopping $140,000 from the insurance company, while my sister that was in the wreck that survived and my brother's wife got millions. And they wanted my mom and dad to divide that $140,000 up between them greedy bastards, instead of what Mom and Dad and me wanted to do was buy this property and build a memorial so people around the world would learn about drunk drivers, animals, and so my brother wasn't just a statistic. But the only way I got my dad through it was my brother died and saved 4 more people, that I got to meet the man that got his heart. They can say anything they want on the internet. They can team up with Carol Baskin all they want. But what I've helped get started for my brother has now turned into a worldwide cause. And we now represent 141 other people that have been killed. One of the first big, different animals that my brother had that he fell in love with was a big old buffalo that he kept in Springer, Oklahoma. And at the pet store that we owned for 16 years, we bought our first squirrel monkey. That is the picture of him with it on his shoulder. And we learned then how cool exotic animals were. His favorite place in America to go visit that he thought was just heaven on earth was Estes Park, Colorado, because the wild elk are so tame. They're walking down the streets and laying out in the meadows that you can just walk up to and get a real close glimpse at. And one of his more exotic dreams was to go to Africa. Him and my mom won a trip. My dad won a trip farming in Kansas when we were kids, and they went to Hawaii, and he was really expecting a jungle with toucans and all that stuff, and he was pretty disappointed to see that it was nothing but a city. But Africa, he wanted to go to the outback where the jungle people still live in huts and bones in their nose and see the real deal. So when he died, me and Brian sold the pet store. Mom and Dad took their insurance money and bought this property and built our first 6 royal cages. And the people all over the world had believed in my cause enough to build the rest of this zoo. And to this day, my brothers and sisters hate this place because we made a success of it, and they didn't get their part of the $140,000. Since that day, I've invested my entire trust fund into my brother's memorial. My mother and father have dumped everything they have into this place. So I don't know how anybody could say we're making money here, because we've lost all of our savings for when we're up in the ages Mom and Dad is now. So we'll continue this fight, and until the day I die, my brothers and sisters can go to hell, and they can sack up with Carol Baskin all they want, because they all got a front row seat in hell. How you can take something so wonderful that millions of people around the world have changed their lives because of this zoo, and desecrate it for your own self-righteousness and greed. One day, Miss Baskin, on the name of my brother, karma is gonna kick your ass. That's the story. And that's what I've lived with for the last 17 years. And you know, I ain't scared of dying. And I ain't scared of dying for this cause. The only thing in this entire planet that I'm scared of is leaving my mom and dad alone, because their own children and their own grandchildren have nothing to do with them for a lousy $140,000. It's a fucking shame. But I can promise you that we're going to win this somehow, some way. And you can set your happy ass Carol down there in Florida, because I know you're watching. And you can scam, and you can fraud. But how on earth can you possibly be such a fucking hypocrite that you can skin your own cats and put them in a museum and sell tours and be open to the public and bitch about people taking photographs with tigers, and then build an app so people can take selfies with a full-grown tiger to pad your own fucking pocket? It is beyond amazing of how people even believe your shit. I get to talk to a judge, a real judge, in November that's gonna hear just how you are using a federal court to continue to stalk and harass me. And you know, I don't even give a fuck anymore. If you intend on keeping all of us broke with lawyers, you go right ahead. Because your day's coming. It's coming. If I don't expose you, that'll be the last fucking thing I do before they put me in the ground. And I'm a wreck right now. I have puked for 84 days. I am bleeding internally. And I have broken ribs. I can't even function, to the point that I had to have babysitters yesterday. But I am going to crawl myself out of this fucking hole. And I'm going to kick your ass publicly. Not physically, because you are not going to get me in trouble. But I can promise you, bitch, from the day I get out of this hole, I am going to bring you down in the news, on the websites, anywhere I have to. Because I've had enough of your shit. And that's all I've got to say tonight. I'll see you Thursday.
About a dozen years ago, just a young man on the road, full of hope and full of life. 2 young boys and a pretty wife. When a drunk took everything, all so senseless like a dream. Takes a fool to drink and drive as the water fills my eyes. GW and me, all that's left are memories. You're my brother and my friend, and I loved you till the end. There was a promise given you, and I swear I'll see it through. I take the line from the cage, let it all be in your name. This work of love I have to share, seems like somehow that you're still here. 'Cause I know you're looking down, and I hope I made you proud. GW and me, all that's left are memories. You're my brother, you're my friend, and I loved you till the end. Memories. You're my brother, you're my friend, and I loved you to the end. GW and me, all that's left are memories. You're my brother, you're my friend, and I loved you till the end. GW Foundation in the Oklahoma nation. Put my heart and soul in this zoo, and it's all because of you. GW Foundation in the Oklahoma nation. Hey bro, I gotta run. See you soon, have some fun. Have some fun.